In this video, I'm going to make a really simple side table, but this same technique can be used to make a coffee table, and in this case, I'm using it as a craft table for my daughter. You can pick these boards up at your local home center and they come in various sizes, but you can always make your own. I'll begin by using a white base coat, and you can grab this over at countertopepoxy.com. As always, you can choose whatever color that fits your taste. I'll be using a mixture of 5 different colors, but there's over 30 to choose from on their website. And for this project, I'm going to be using their Premium FX 1-part hardener and 1-part resin. There is a chart on their website to help you mix the right amount of resin for your project. I'm going to mix a total of 24 ounces for this, and it's 1-part resin and 1-part hardener. After mixing the hardener and resin, I'm going to empty that out into a new container. Now I'm going to take the white primer and mix that into the epoxy. I was a little generous on the amount that I poured into the epoxy because that kind of gave it a transparent look, and I wanted that to be a darker base. After pouring out the epoxy onto the work surface, I'll then take a brush and spread it out. After moving the camera, I didn't realize that it went out of focus, and all I did here was spread it out evenly. Then I took the blowtorch and I went across the entire surface to remove all the air bubbles. I mixed another 24 ounces of epoxy and I spread that out equally into 5 different cups. If I didn't mention it before, I'm not an expert when it comes to working with epoxy, but I'm just trying out a few different techniques just to give me a feel for how I want to approach things in the future. I'm going to randomly pour all the colors into the PVC tube. I'm not going to mix it, but I'm going to let it sit into each other, and it's going to also create separation on its own. And with the PVC not being 100% straight, I can see there's a leak on the side, and the colors that are coming out of there are just really cool. And just by doing this project, I did gain a few ideas and inspiration that I'd like to try in a future project. So how cool is that color blend that's coming right out of the tube? So there was no plan, so this is all freestyling, and just whatever comes out, that's what's gonna come out. The most important thing is to get the colors in the mix that you wanna see in the table. So the next thing I'm going to do is tilt the board a little bit so that I can get the colors to move. I torched it once more, then I came back with the alcohol, sprayed it down, and just helped some of the colors separate from each other a little bit. Let that sit overnight, and I came back the next day. So this didn't come out as good as I would like it to right away because of the different layers. I just think I let it sit too long, and then the epoxy just started getting hotter than it should have. So if you look right along the edge here, you can still see the grain in the wood. It's all being exposed, and that's probably on me for not putting enough of the white base into it, which kind of gave it a transparent look. Now I think I could have went about this 2 ways. One, I can sand this area down and just pour more epoxy on it. But what I actually did to fix this was sand this area down and took some white spray paint, and then I sprayed that. And before I do that, I'm going to cut away all the epoxy drippings, and I'm just going to use a saw to cut that loose. Now because I didn't do a good job on the first layer, there is a rough texture on here, and I'm going to sand this down, and then when I put the second layer on it, it's going to be really smooth. At this point, I've already sanded down and spray painted the edges to make that wood grain disappear. So now I'm going to sand the entire thing down using 120 grit sandpaper all the way up to 400 grit. Before applying a clear coat, I'm going to take a wet rag and wipe down the entire surface to remove all the dust. I then mixed another color of epoxy, but this time I'm not going to put any color in it. And this process is going to be the same. I'm going to pour the clear coat right on top of the work surface, then I'll take a brush and spread it out. For a second, I thought I lost the project. I wasn't quite ready to go away from it yet and start over again, so I decided to sand it down because what's the worst can happen. I poured another layer of clear coat on it, and then I hit it with the torch. At that point, everything looked like glass and I couldn't be more happy with it. I'd be curious to know if you guys had a situation like this where you thought you lost a project but you was able to save it. I sanded the bottom one last time to remove all the dried up drips, then I went on to put on the legs.